This is Andi Purewal, Boxing Social in association with Betfred, and I'm joined by David Diamante here in the beautiful Texas. David, firstly, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Nice to see you, man.
You too, mate. You too. Obviously, we're here in Texas, as I mentioned. The stat card tomorrow night. Let's just work through, starting off with Jesse Vargas and Mikey Garcia. What are your thoughts on their bout?
It's a really compelling fight. I'm a fan of both guys. I'm a huge fan of Mikey Garcia, but at 147, I just don't know. And it's really going to be exciting to see him against Jesse Vargas, who's a really solid fighter. Jesse was about to move up to 154, and he's staying at 147 to fight Mikey. So we'll see. There's plenty of great fights at 135 and 140 for Mikey, but he wants to be at 147 and fight with the bigger guys. So we'll see what happens. He's a hell of a fighter. But at 147, I just don't know. He's only had one fight at 147, and he didn't look great against Errol Spence. He survived, which was impressive, but I didn't really feel he won a moment of that whole fight. So we'll see what happens against Jesse. Jesse's a very solid fighter, two-division world champion, and he's not a joke. Good fight.
We obviously saw the Regis program Morris Hooker fight announced yesterday. Just firstly, a word on that. What are your thoughts on that? That should be a brilliant bout.
Oh, it's a cracking fight. It's a wonderful fight. It's kind of one of the best fights that can be made in the division. Look, there's so many great fights at 140. Obviously Josh Taylor, with his big win, and you got Ramirez. So hopefully those guys will be on a collision course. It's always great to get an undisputed, but Regis Prograis and Maurice Hooker are right there. They're both really great guys, tough fighters. That's a hell of a fight. I can't wait, man.
Regis said originally, he went to the first Mikey Garcia, Jesse Vargas press conference, and he said to Eddie, I want to face the winner of that. Would you be interested, if Regis was to beat Maurice Hooker, would you be interested to see him face one of Mikey Garcia or Jesse Vargas?
100%. Yes, absolutely. Regis, man, I've known Regis since he turned pro, man, and he's just such a great fighter. He's strong. People don't make a mistake. That fight with Josh Taylor was that close. It was razor thin. I thought Taylor won it. It was razor thin, and I had Taylor winning it beforehand because I know Josh. And Josh, to me, man, he's a fighter in his heart, and I thought he would edge it, but it was going to be close, and it was that close. That was a great fight. Man, it was ringside for it. It was an incredible fight. So hats off to Taylor, man. God, what a fight that was, but hats off to Regis. He was really deflated after that fight, but he's coming back like a true champ, and hopefully he'll be back on top again. We'll see, but it's going to be. These are all good fights, and of course, Maurice Hooker is training out now with Terrence Crawford and Bojack, so it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Let's just work our way through the rest of Saturday's card before coming on to a few other boxing matters. Obviously, we've also got Caulifla versus Chocolatito, Roman Gonzalez. What are your thoughts on that one? People still considering what Roman Gonzalez has left in the tank. It's obviously Cal's biggest fight as of yet in his career.
Obviously Chocolatito opened up a lot of doors for the lower weight classes, four-division world champ. He's a legend. I called him El Gran Campeón, which, I don't say that a lot. That's really reserved for a couple of people, like Julio Cesar Chavez and certain people you call grand champion. But I think Chocolatito deserves that title. He was pound for pound one of the best fighters on the planet at the time for a long time, and people really looked up to him. The question is, what does he have left? Cal Yafai obviously looks up to him greatly, but in the ring Saturday night, it's all about business. Cal's making his sixth defense of his title, fighting out of the West Midlands and Birmingham. 08 Olympian, he's a hell of a fighter. He's undefeated. I love Cal Yafai. I think Cal Yafai is going to come out on top, but we'll see. It'll be a great name to have on his ledger, and we'll see what Chocolatito's got left.
And obviously another world title fight in Julio Cesar Martinez versus Jay Harris. What are your thoughts about Julio's a heavy favourite with the bookies, but do you think it's going to be as easy as what people are maybe looking at it?
Oh, I don't think it's an easy fight at all. Jay Harris, first of all, his dad, I shouted at his dad. His dad is former featherweight champ. It's British featherweight champ. And so he comes from a fighting family. He's a Welshman, from Swansea. Ain't no quitting that guy. He's a tough guy. He's undefeated. And he's won titles at, European level, Commonwealth level. So he's going to come to fight. He's taller. He's got the height. But it's really hard to see anyone beating Martinez right now. Julio Cesar is one of my favorite fighters at the moment. The guy is unbelievable. He's a savage. He's an animal. He just comes to fight. He totally destroyed El Latigo, Christopher Rosales. He made pretty quick work of Charlie Edwards before he hit him after the knockdown. Yeah, he looks pretty scary. He's just awesome to watch. I mean, either way, whoever wins, you just got to watch the fight because it's just such an exciting fight. So I think it's a great fight.
Should be a good fight and a brilliant card. But just to move away from this and onto the small matter of the past weekend, Wilder Fury 2 out in Las Vegas, Tyson Fury with a 7th round victory. Just talking about the fight, David, what was your thoughts on it?
Well, it was an amazing performance by Tyson Fury. I think it surprised a lot of people. He did exactly what he said he was going to do. He came out, he was aggressive, he used his weight, he still had his boxing skill. Round 1, he took a big right hand from Wilder, took it well, moved forward, took another one, I think in the 3rd round, moved forward. And he just made it look pretty easy, man. He just dismantled Deontay Wilder. Very exciting to see that. It was great to see a guy who was not known for knocking people out to do what he did. It was just a great performance, and a lot of people are. There was a lot of talk when he left Ben Davidson and he went to Sugar Hill, and people were like saying, "Oh, to give the win to Sugar Hill and all that." But I think, to be really honest with you, and I'm not trying to take credit or give credit to anyone that's not due, but I just want to give credit to Tyson Fury because I truly believe that this was truly round 13. When he was knocked down, Fury was knocked down in the first fight, and he had to get up. We all remember that moment, of course. It was a very classic moment, and he popped up, and he won the rest of the round. He didn't have a choice but to come forward because Wilder was coming at him. So he came forward, and I think that's when he realized in his head, that's where he got this game plan. I don't necessarily think that this was a Sugar Hill thing that they put on, or this was not a Ben Davis thing. I think this was a Tyson Fury thing. I might be wrong, but it's just what I think. I believe this is a truly round 13 of instead of round 1 of fight 2, it was round 13. He knew I can bully this guy. He said that's what happens when you bully a bully. They falter, and that's what he did. And he popped his jab really nicely. A big guy like that with that weight at 6'9", throwing a jab. I mean, look at Lennox Lewis. His jab's like a power punch, and Tyson Fury's throwing it like that. So very impressive. He's on top of the world right now. Let's get a unification. Let's get the undisputed. Man, that would be great. I'm really excited for the UK. Obviously, I'm over there all the time. I'll be there next week in Manchester for the fights. But it's great that all the belts are in the UK. I'm an American, but I think it's great for the UK and all the fight fans over there that really follow the sport and they're true fans. And shout out to all you guys. I appreciate all you guys out there, and I'm happy for you fans that you guys have the belts. But I think you guys all want to see what we want to see. We want to see AJ and Fury. So whether Wilder will take step aside money or whether he's going to fight him, I think they're saying he's going to fight Pulev. Those fights have to happen. But if the chips kind of fall, I mean, you just heard Eddie talking about hopefully we'll get Fury AJ at the end of 2020. Look, it would just be great to see.
Obviously, there's just a few things after the Wilder Fury fight I just wanted to get your thoughts on. Firstly, Deontay came out and said he wasn't happy with his corner throwing in the towel. Your opinion, was it the right decision?
Well, my opinion is that I'm always going to back Mark Breland because he's from Brooklyn. That's my guy. Mark Breland knows more about boxing than most people. He'll forget more about boxing than most people ever know, right? Olympic gold medalist, world champion. Mark's been there. Mark's done it. He knows the sport, and he's a compassionate guy. He's a great guy. I know Mark very well for a long time, so I'm always going to back Mark. But at the same time, I love that Deontay has the heart of a champion. He wanted to go out on a shield. I give him credit for that, for being a true champion. And I think most people that want to give him flack for this or for that, he's in the ring doing it. But his legs were jello, and that's the problem. It's we saw in that first fight with Ruiz with Anthony Joshua. Even when he's trying to clear the cobwebs, his legs weren't good. When your legs aren't good, things topple. That's how you build a building, right? With foundation. Your legs have to be good. Your balance has to be good. It's rule number 1. It's where punches come from, man. It comes from your pinky toe all the way down. It comes from your legs, And so that's really what it's all about. And he didn't have legs. So the real question is, what's up with the excuse, with the costume excuse? Spinal. I mean, there's been all these crazy excuses over the spider bite, the toe. There's been some crazy excuses in boxing. Costume, that's a first. I've never heard that one. But either way, look, if he really believes that, he'll probably get another crack because he's got a rematch clause. So we'll see what happens. But This is going to be interesting. But, you know, I always back Mark Breland. And, of course, you know, this is already a very, very dangerous sport. And it's better to save your man and live to fight another day. But at the same time, like I said, I give hats off to Wilder for having a heart of a champion. There was no quit in him. There is no quit in him. He's a fighter, and he wanted to go out on a shield. So you got to respect him for that, too.
You briefly touched on it there, the costume. I was going to ask you about it. What was your thoughts when you heard about that, when Deontay came out and said it?
I mean, it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing, but, you know, it's what it is. I don't know what else to say. It's embarrassing.
Obviously, something which has kind of come to fruition over this last day or so. I've seen people maybe making little conspiracy theories that Tyson's hands were flapping in his gloves. His gloves were flapping, when he was hitting Wilder, suggesting that his gloves had been tampered with. I don't know whether you've seen anything or not. There's some videos flying about. What are your thoughts on people trying to bring this up?
My thoughts are two things. First of all, the costume, just to finish that off. I mean, also, Wilder a lot of times trains with a big, heavy vest. Yeah. Think like a 45-pound vest. So, I mean, excuses are just that. Yeah. Excuses. As far as the gloves, I mean, the Las Vegas Commission, one of the best in the world. You know, it's very imperative. I don't know who the inspectors were that night, but I am sure that they were top-notch, and it's very imperative that inspectors understand what they're watching, because when guys are getting their gloves, their hands wrapped, a lot of inspectors in the world might not know what they're looking for, and I think they need to be trained well. So I'm sure that they were in Vegas. I don't know who it was, and I don't know anything about that, but I assume that it was top-notch guys and they know what they're looking at. So I think, again, these are all just probably conspiracy theories. But again, the trainers for each camp should be there. So, you know, if you had JD's and Mark Breland there watching guy get his hand wrapped, they should know what they're looking at too. So these are just excuses.
A final thing I just wanted to ask you on, if we do see Joshua Fury in the near future, how big is that a fight with regards to any previous fight you've been at?
It'll be up there with the biggest, I think, of any of them. I mean, the undisputed heavyweight championship of the world. It's just saying it, like, I get chicken skin, man. I get goosebumps just thinking about it. You know, it's like really, it's going to be amazing. That'll be as big as anything.
Well, David, I will leave you to enjoy the rest of your night. It's always good to catch up with you, and I'll hopefully see you later on tonight. Thank you for speaking to Boxing Social, and we'll see you tomorrow.
I really appreciate it. The fight starts now.
Brilliant. Cheers, mate.